I've been crushing these goldfish.
It's a good way to start it. Yes, he's
I didn't know we started.
I just ate some bagel bites. We took an intermission because these episodes are long. I just want to say
we need fuel, people. We need fuel too.
Just before we even get started with this part 2, you're going to be watching this very close to Christmas. I know it's hard. Don't let fantasy football ruin your Christmas. If you have to, turn the TV off. Go drink some eggnog. Whatever you got to do. Don't let fantasy football ruin it. The Giants play the Eagles on Christmas. I mean, it might be on in the background. I'm not going to let it ruin my time. So with that said, let's jump into these games, unless Paul has something to say on that.
I completely agree. I'm going to try a lot to not have fantasy football ruin my Christmas any more than it already has. It's great. It's great advice. There are a few things in life more important than fantasy.
Just a couple. And family is one of them. Because I ain't got friends, I got family.
I like that. Starting with kind of picking up where we left off.
Yeah.
We got Seattle at Tennessee. They're giving Seattle basically a field goal on the road. 42 over under. Obviously, Seattle is coming off of a huge win against Philly. We said it last week. It turned out to be true on both sides of the spectrum. The majority of Ken Walker's runs were stuffed or in the backfield, but he found a way to break off a good one.
Yep, that's what he does.
JSN got the game-winning touchdown. That was awesome. I don't think it's predictive for like what you can kind of trust with him going forward.
He got 4 targets.
Right, exactly. So yeah, with like Seattle, I think we're kind of looking at the same thing. Like you're Ken Walker, DK Metcalf. You can take a sniff at Ty Lockett if you really want to. Like I'm not the biggest Ty Lockett guy.
He just doesn't seem to have the upside that he's had in years past.
Mm.
So he's not really worth a start because it's like he's got a low floor, a medium ceiling, and that's about it.
It sounds like Geno might be healthy, but I mean, do you think
healthy enough to play? I don't think he's going to healthy enough to play.
Yeah, he's going to be healthy enough to play. So, like, is he automatically back in over Drew Lock after a big dub, or what are you thinking?
Yeah, I think so. I don't see Pete Carroll being the kind of guy that's gonna, you missed one game and we ended up winning, so I don't think he's that fickle. Backup quarterbacks. This is my theory with backup quarterbacks, and I think that Drew Lock did this to a T. And this is what I said on the episode part 1 about Tommy DeVito and just backup quarterbacks in general. You want your backup quarterback to be a guy who can just keep you alive in games and doesn't ruin the game for you. And that is what Drew Lock did. He played fine. They ran the ball a lot. Their defense kept the game close. And then when Drew Lock needed to make a play, he ended up making that play. So, yeah, your backup's a guy that needs to just be capable enough to be able to make a play if necessary. Maybe he makes it half the time, and your starter makes it 70% of the time, makes that play. I don't think that means he's going to overtake Geno Smith because of one, and it's a big win, but still, I don't see that happening. So yeah.
No, I agree, and it's not like he set the world on fire for like 30 points of offense. Like they barely beat Philly because Philly just didn't have a great game, and we'll talk about Philly more when we get to them. But just keeping it with this game. I think really the big stuff to talk about is on the Tennessee side. We've talked this to death already. I'm still depressed about it. Derelict Henry, and just that running game just could not get anything going last week. That sucked. And it sounds like the passing offense is going to get worse because Will Levis has a high ankle.
Sure. I don't think much changes. Like Tannehill's not great. I think they're playing Levis more because he can be the future, though. I think they're pretty comparable in terms of skill set, or at least skill level.
I'm going to push on that a little bit because I think that the way that I think they're comparable is that I think they're comparable in like what it means for the fantasy relevant options on the team. Like pretty much it's Derrick Henry and D-Hop and, like to varying degrees. But dude, like Tannehill looked awful before he went down. And Will Levis has not been consistent. I don't think he's been even a particularly good quarterback all the time, but he's had some pop games that I don't see from Tannehill. I don't see that Tannehill can have. So like, even though I think they're comparable in the sense that like who you're going to start in Tennessee and how you feel about them pretty much doesn't change, I think Levis gives the passing game a potential upside that Tannehill doesn't.
I think, yeah, the bombs that Levis can throw is definitely boost the upside for sure. And yeah, Tannehill wasn't playing well before. Those points are true. I think, excuse me, I think that Tannehill can still at least keep this team on schedule. I'm not completely out on him as a player.
Yeah, and against Seattle, they're not a world-beating defense. Particularly, I think that they're stronger on the back end than they are against the run. Probably going to be a decent Derrick Henry game because I don't need it to happen anymore. Anything to talk about with this one before we bounce it?
No, man. Go for it. Let's make a pick.
Tannehill changes it for me. Give me Seattle.
I'll take Tennessee at home. I'll take them.
Okay.
By the way, did we not pick the last game we talked about? Houston, Cleveland.
Oh shit! I don't think we did.
Well, we'll pick it now. We'll pick it.
Well, I know, listeners, we left you on a cliffhanger with that, but I'm glad
yeah, I just noticed that. Who do you got in that game?
Dude, I think the reason why we left it there is it's hard, man. I had Houston before the CJ news. If it's not CJ, I'm just not sure they can consistently make the big plays to win the game against a really good defense. I think I gotta go with Cleveland.
This is a difficult one, but yeah, I gotta take the Browns too in that one. So okay.
That sucks. All right. So we got Green Bizzle at Carolina.
Oh yeah, fun game.
The Jordan Love experience has been a roller coaster. I mean, first couple games, hey, Packers might have found a kid here. Like, let's see how it goes. The next few games happen, and he's clearly not the guy, and they're starting to think of maybe they're in tank for Caleb's situation, and then he starts doing better again, and then he beats Kansas City, and everybody's choking on his cock, and then he goes to New York, and the stock crashes back down to earth again with the loss in New York. Like, who is this guy really, Andrew? I guess is what I'm trying to ask.
He's a young quarterback with young receivers that's trying to figure it out. but he's got some talent. I think he'll be fine. You know,
I think he's got some juice too.
I think, God damn it, I always gotta freaking theorize, but I'm gonna do it. Theorize and what's the word? Like philosophize. There's only, say what you will about Cam Newton. I think in his recent, listen to me post that he made, there was a good point in there. And he basically said there's only there's only a handful of game-changing quarterbacks in the league. We constantly as fans, whether it be fantasy football, just fans of the NFL, whatever, we constantly are looking for like the next Mahomes and the next Lamar Jackson, the next Josh Allen, whatever. Whoever else you want to call elite, whatever, I don't care. Everyone's opinion is different. But like there has to be a point where we say good is good enough when you put a good team around him. I think Jordan Love has the ability to be good, and consistently good. Maybe he is like a Kirk Cousins level, which is fine. A lot of franchises will sign up for that. So I do think that he has the skills to be a longtime starter for Green Bay.
And I was listening to the Green Light podcast the other day, Chris Long's podcast.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And they were talking about the same Cam Newton thing. And I liked his take that pretty much everybody exists on the game manager spectrum. And he talks about it like a spectrum. And there's great game managers and then there's shitty game managers too, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, unless there have always been a few aliens that you can like pick up and drop into any team. And it's like, that guy's just going to elevate you to like an insane level. And trust me, everybody in the NFL is tripping over their feet trying to get that guy because that guy elevates your ceiling so much.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Cam Newton is unintentionally right because the point he was making is that he's a game-changing quarterback, which is not true anymore. And that, that he could be a guy that could change a game, but unintentionally, yes, there's a lot of game managers, but he was using it as like a derogatory term. And the reality is that 75% of the quarterbacks in the league are going to be on the game manager spectrum somewhere.
Well, he did say on there that the clip that I saw, he said that he doesn't use game manager with a negative connotation. And that was something that I appreciated. I was like,
I saw the clip after it had been like, pushed around everywhere.
I saw it out of context. I don't really know. I mean, I saw like a few minute long clip.
No, you could be right. I did not watch any of it. So
yeah,
you could be totally right.
He did say, I don't use the term game manager in a negative connotation. I've been saying that for years. It shouldn't be a negative thing. If you can keep your team on schedule from the quarterback position, you're doing your job.
Yep.
Not everybody can be top 5 guy and game-changing type talent. It's fine. That's what I think Jordan Love is.
Yeah, and look, and I'm coming back to the point. I do agree with you. I think that he has enough talent to get another chance and get another look. I think there's a lot of other problems on the team. In the context of fantasy football in this game, obviously, if Jaden Reed is fully healthy, yes. I think
he's a little banged up right now.
I know he was nursing an injury going into last week, but he played.
Yeah, he's been banged up. I think he got a new injury. I don't know. They might look at this game and say like it's the Panthers. I think we can beat them without Jaden. If he plays,
you smash him.
What's up?
I guess.
Yeah.
I said if he plays, you smash him.
He's just been too consistent. Like he has like one game within the last 5 weeks where he didn't get double-digit fantasy points. Like I would be happy to put him in my lineup. He's been consistent. He's been used a lot. If he is out, and I'm assuming Christian Watson's hamstrings hate him, and he's like, how long is he back for? 15, 5 snaps. Dontavian Wicks, man. Dontavian Wicks is a guy to look at. I think he can
Yeah.
be.
Well, okay. So maybe that's a conversation. Wicks or Romeo Dobbs, because I think a lot of people would say that Dobbs projects as having more consistent targets, being a move the chains kind of guy.
I like Dontavian Wicks more because I see Dobbs as like a poor man's Cortland Sutton. Like he's really touchdown dependent. I don't.
And he
I don't.
hasn't had the magic this year. Those touchdown dependent guys, like they need some magic.
Yeah, things need to break their way. And early in the season, Dobbs was getting that, and that's fallen off a lot. I think Dontavian Wicks just projects over a longer period of time to be, and yeah, whatever. This is not dynasty, but I just think he projects to be a better player than Romeo Dobbs.
And he gets the high value down the field looks
yeah, he
that
gets a lot
Jaden
of
Reed
these
was
downfield,
getting.
these crossing targets, where he can make something happen. So, yeah, I like if Jaden Reed's out, I like Dontavian a lot.
Aaron Jones wasn't awesome, but he looked healthy last week, so I think he's a smash start.
I'm out of the Aaron Jones. I'm getting tired, you can tell. Aaron Jones being a smash start ever.
Really?
At this point, yeah.
Even against sad sack Carolina?
The matchup is fine, so he's definitely a start for me. He's just not. I'm not going to expect 30 points from him. I'm like, if you get 15 to 20, that's awesome.
Because they mixed in AJD a lot now.
Why? Why?
Well, I mean,
that's my question to the coaching staff. Why?
Oh, well, never mind. I am very stupid. This just goes to show you how much I have not paid attention to Green Bay last week. AJ Dillon is not going to play because he broke his thumb.
Sweet. So then Aaron Jones becomes a little bit of a better start, but they'll still throw out some of their other guys. I think his name is like Patrick Taylor or something like that. A little bit here and there, but he's not a start. So yeah, that's really it from the Green Bay side for me.
Carolina, 2-player conversation. Congratulations, Carolina Panthers fans. You won a game with literally all field goals.
That's how you do it against the Falcons.
Chubbawamba is the only guy that like is kind of a should start / must start. And in a game like this against Green Bay that has just been kind of had a penchant for letting up a lot of yardage to the receivers, I think Thielen. I think Thielen's fine.
Thielen's gonna. I picked him for my Christmas gift because the last 2 games Green Bay has seen Wandale, slot receiver, go off. We have seen Chris Godwin, plays out of the slot primarily, go off. Thielen plays out of the slot a lot. I think he has a good chance to get you over 100, and maybe a touchdown. So, but yeah, that's really it. It's Hubbard and it's Thielen, and that's the only players I'm gonna mess around with.
Who you taking?
I'm gonna take the Panthers to cover because at home, low over under, they can keep the game close. If their running game's working and if they can just kind of matriculate their way up the field, I think they can threaten in this game to beat a struggling beat up Packers team.
This is a tough one because of the 5 points. And Green Bay has just shown. No, I'm taking Green Bay. Dude, I mean, you can flip the script on me very easily this week.
Good idea.
I'm going to take Green Bay to cover. That was my first instinct. I know that 5 points on the road for a team that doesn't have a lot of wins is a lot, but man, I just think you said it, right? Jordan Love showed talent. He can be the guy. I haven't seen that from Bryce yet, unfortunately, and I feel for the kid, but Bryce is looking to me like he might be a little lower on the game manager totem pole.
Still early
when everything's said and done.
A rookie with not great talent around him. I can't completely bury the kid just yet.
Looking like he might be.
But the thing of to your point though, having a really rough rookie season can destroy your confidence. And if you don't have that, you don't really have a chance. So that's part of it too.
It's brutal. It's brutal. Not setting him up for success at all.
Yeah. Yeah. Look at Daniel Jones, Zach Wilson. I mean, maybe they were fucking dead in the water from day one, but the world will never know.
We will never know. I mean,
how many quarterbacks does it take to get the center of a Tootsie Pop? The world may never know.
Dallas at Miami. Speaking of a Tootsie Pop game, because those are the kind of teams that these teams like to beat up on, and their fans like to suck on things.
Hey, some of those Miami fans are pretty nice.
Hey. Moving on. I said this before, and I'll say it again. Every time I am ready, that like after weeks, I'm finally ready to buy in Dallas, they do some fraudulent shit. They just do it. I picked Buffalo to win. You picked Buffalo to win. Like, I thought Buffalo was going to win, but Dallas didn't even put up a fight. It was the James Cook show from the first quarter. Because they just couldn't do anything. I cannot understand how a team can look so good and then look so bad.
It's the NFL, man. It's talented pro players versus talented pro players, man. If you don't come prepared, you're gonna get smacked in the face. Look at Atlanta. Yeah. Look at Atlanta. They let the worst team in the league beat them, and it wasn't impressive. But they didn't come ready with a shitty game plan, Arthur Smith.
Yeah. I mean, I guess maybe it really does come down to coaching, but it's just crazy to me because there is because some consistency exists, right? Like, there are teams, Baltimore hasn't won every game, but you kind of know what you're going to get from them pretty much, but with Dallas, it's just, I'm in a different league. I was all in on the Dak Dallas situation, and I was riding that high, but I knew it was a bomb in the hand. I knew that it was going to go off at some point, and they were going to throw up a shitty dud, and they did so in the first round of the playoffs. But I digress. I mean, look, and we're talking all this shit about Dallas, but you know what? Miami hasn't beat those fraud allegations either. This is the fraud bowl right here, because Miami still hasn't really beat anybody of true consequence.
Yet it's a 51 over under.
Yeah, which we like from a fantasy football perspective. Tyreek, as of this recording, I have not seen a practice report for him. You all in the future will know at this point probably what's going on with him, but I don't know. What's your sense? What's your gut telling you about Reek right now?
He plays. My gut says he plays. He was trying so hard to get to play last week, and I think he was close, but ultimately, I think what I would imagine happened was Tyreek was talking to this medical staff and was like, yo, I think I can play on it. It's going to hurt, but I can play on it. And they're like, dude, it's the Jets. The medical staff probably didn't say this, but I think ultimately it culminated in, I think we can beat the Jets without you. We need you down the stretch. There's no point of you getting hurt again.
He really wants 2K too.
Yeah, and he's motivated to get out there and get his milestones. So I think he's going to play in this game.
Well, then assuming that, because I do have a tendency to agree with you. Cool. So we saw Jalen Waddle by himself, and It was awesome.
Looked great.
Despite the fact that, I had some hesitations throwing him in there against a bad matchup. But, of course, with the volume and him being a good player, ultimately it was great. 2 touchdowns, the whole thing. With Reek back in there, and now against Dallas, do you feel like Waddle is still a top 20, top 24 type of play? Or do you see him going back to like the boomy, busty flex that he's kind of been this year?
One game isn't going to change his role ultimately on the team, but in an over-under game of 51,
Yeah.
they're at home with, especially as turnover prone, or how do you say that? Like Dallas generating as many turnovers as they do, they still are.
And Miami likes to serve them up. They're not like anti-turnover over there.
No, but I'm not concerned about that because I think that there's going to be enough bombs down the field that Tua is going to attempt. Most of them will be to Tyreek, but Waddle should get a few. I think that Waddle can beat one of Stephon Gilmore or Deron Bland on plenty of plays. This game is too juicy for me not to think that Waddle could still be a top 20, 24, whatever you ask type guy.
Yeah. Obviously, Raheem is the dream.
Yeah, I mean, he's
20 touchdowns. Jesus Christ.
As many as McCaffrey, I believe.
I counted at last my count, unless I'm crazy, between rushing and receiving, 20 total touchdowns.
God, can you imagine if there's got to be fantasy teams out there that have round
McCaffrey
one
and Raheem, absolutely.
Mostert, later in the draft or whatever.
And I promise you, they had just had a bye week.
Yep.
Yeah, unbelievable. Wow. But okay, on the same run game, we just watched Dallas get absolutely boat showed. They got run all over. I mean,
yeah,
that has to be kind of a blueprint type of game for other coaches to see, like, yo, when you don't drop back a lot against Dallas, you don't do a lot of shotgun, you don't let their edge rushers tee off, like, it's not as scary of a defense. So Achane, he's managing a toe. He isn't getting all of the volume, but what is your confidence level with throwing Achane in there against what looks like a very susceptible Dallas run D?
I think that speed is going to show up in this game. I would be happy to start Achane this week. I mean, you can start both those guys if they're on your roster. That's fine. I mean,
and just like there is a strategy for some people, wink, wink, out there. There is a strategy out there for just cornering that backfield, knowing that the backfield's going to go off.
Yeah, I mean, you hope that the touchdowns come for those running backs, and they're not all to Tyreek and Waddle and stuff. But yeah, I think you can start. I think you can start Achane in this game. I think you start those 4 guys, and I think you can start Tua as well. So
here's the tough part now. The fantasy, I think, conversations was pretty easy. It was mostly us just glazing great fantasy options. We already know the fantasy options. Like Dak, okay, he had a terrible game, but like in this matchup, should be fine. Obviously, you always start CD. You're gonna start Pollard. Like we know what the deal is with these fantasy prospects in this game, but like. This is like, to me, a battle of like an immovable object and an unstoppable force. Dallas can't beat anybody good on the road. Miami hasn't beat anybody good, period. What breaks? Which way are we leaning here?
All right. So are you asking me to pick it?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to take Miami. I think that being the home team, and I think they're going to be able to make some big plays against Dallas. And I think Dak is due for a game where he just makes one too many mistakes. I don't think he's going to be bad, but I think that he's going to, if any, I had to bet on one side making that one costly mistake, I'd put that on Dak, not on Tua.
Asking for a friend in a shallow league. Dak versus Miami, or Justin Fields versus Zona?
Man. Just off the gut, I want Justin.
That's who's in there right now. For my friend. Speaking of Arizona and Chicago, it's the next game we're going to talk about.
Good times.
So it's a 44 over under. They're giving Chicago 4 at home. Not going to bother trying to add the sound effect or anything, but it's violin time for Hollywood. He's cooked.
Yeah.
Like at the very minimum for the fantasy season, I hope not going forward. I hope to see him kind of get some of that magic back because he's an awesome player, has been an awesome player. But there's no way that I can trust throwing him in lineups right now. I can't do it. Regardless of like what a practice report says about him being healthy, he's been in and out twice now.
You gotta, it's hard in fantasy, in life, and whatever fantasy, to just have pure blind faith in anything. This is a game where you need results, and it's the playoffs. You cannot screw around with a start like Hollywood Brown. That's been terrible. Who's been injured?
Very well could have a usable game, but you can't trust it.
You can't bank on it. So yeah, he's out for me. Bridezilla, Trey McBride, must start at this point. Matchup doesn't matter. He's going to get volume.
Smash start.
And then the question, though, on the Arizona side is like James Conner. The Bears' defense has really turned it around lately.
Oh, man. They've been great.
I would not feel confident. A struggling offense versus an improving defense. The Bears are at home. I would try to stay away from James Conner.
You took the words right out of my mouth. That was in my notes. The only X factor that would have made James Conner a start for me is pass catching, which he really hasn't been doing much. So we touched on this before. I touched on this before in the previous episode. I'm out on James Conner this week as an RB2. Now, if your team's loaded, maybe you got a flex spot, whatever. I don't know. But I'm still just not he's not a top 24 play at all for me against San Fran.
Yeah.
I'm like, he might not even be a top 30 play.
You are hoping that he gets a chance to fall in the end zone in this game.
Yeah, that's it.
And I don't want to bank on
that. There's a lot of touchdown dependent guys out there.
He's one of them. Right?
Other question is Kyler by himself. Again, Chicago's defense has been pretty good. Kyler has not had more than one touchdown in the air.
Yeah.
This season so far. Hasn't done it. Now, he's salvaged some good fantasy days with a little bit of running, but I don't know, man. Is he a top 12 guy for you this week?
Oh, man, I can't trust Kyler this week. I think you gotta be willing to scour the options and make a pivot that maybe a few months ago you wouldn't have thought you'd make. I mean, I know Kyler started the season injured, so maybe not the best example, but
right.
You gotta play.
Thought based on the name.
Based on the name. So you gotta be willing to make these pivots, even if doesn't feel good or feel sexy. I mean,
we've been using these examples all week.
Do or die.
All episode. Kyler or Browning.
Oh man, see that it's closer than I'd want to say. I think I'd lean Kyler just because let me get the upside of the rushing ability. Maybe that's still something exploitable.
Kyler or Baker.
Also very similar. Don't want to be too much of a prisoner of the moment because of one fantastic game by Baker. That one's still close, but I think I'd go Kyler once again. Give me the upside of rushing.
Kyler or Wacko Flacco Lame.
Oh, Kyler.
Good. I thought we were going to get crazy there. All right. Obviously, on the Chicago side, Chicago's been a very heliocentric fantasy offense for their selections.
Yeah.
Even though DJ Moore wasn't great last week, as was none of my team. But basically, Fields has ping-ponged between a 10-point game and a 20-point game. That's been back and forth what he's been doing. It's the playoffs, all the marbles, good matchup. Fields a top 8 guy for you?
Top 8. No, not top 8. Not top 8. Maybe give him 12. No, I can't give him 8.
I feel good about him being top 10. And I might give him top 8 with some of the trash that's been at quarterback lately, but yeah, I mean, I'll put it this way: I'm more confident in the 20 burger from Justin Fields than I am in the 10 burger, which is what he's basically shown his range.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
Whatever that looks like for your own team. Their running back room is still a mess.
I've been saying, I said it last week. I'll say it again.
It looks like it's Roschon. It does look like it's Roschon now, but in a do or die game, I just don't think I can touch any of it.
Do you know the snap count he got, Roschon?
No, I was just going off of visually seeing it. He looked the best out there, and Donta was frozen out, but I don't know.
He looked like garbage, right? Donta, that is.
Yes, he didn't do anything, and my sleeper app is still messed up. So if you care to look it up, you can. In the meantime, I'll set us up for the next topic.
Yeah,
very fun game. Womp womp. New England at Denver, 34 over under. Denver's favored by a touchdown at home.
All right, one sec. I don't know the exact snap counts, but I'll say that Roschon got 11 opportunities. Ended up with 8 fantasy points. I know Donta just looked like crap. I think he ended up with negative points. Khalil Herbert. The point I want to make, I said it last week. I'll say it again. This Bears offense is not good enough to, even good offenses, you don't want to bet on a 3-headed monster.
Right.
3-headed, not even kitty cat, not even monster.
3-headed dog. It's a 3-headed
dog, sure. Cerberus, right? Is that the name?
Yeah. But not scary Cerberus, the cartoon, small Cerberus.
Yeah, Saturday morning cartoons version. We're tired of getting off fucking rails. Dude,
we should pick this game, by the way.
You can't trust this backfield. That's all I'm saying.
I'm jumping all over the place. I'll pick this first. I'm taking Chicago to cover. I do not like Zona right now.
Yeah, I got to go with Chicago too. I think ultimately their defense is going to be the difference maker for them in this game, and they'll win. They'll win by more than 4 points.
So I set this up already, jumping all over the place, folks. Sorry, it's late over here in the recording cave, so to speak. But it is New England at Denver. Not a great over-under, as New England games very often are not. It's Zeke and Henry on the New England side, and that's basically all I care to talk about there.
I mean, you can always, if DeMario Douglas is back, you can always hope for a big play or two from him. He's got talent. His team just sucks. That's
Would you say he has pop?
I would say that.
I guess on the Denver side, of course, Cortland Sutton, the touchdown machine. You got to have him in there for that potential. But is Javonte finally going to deliver a good fantasy day for us?
No, he's not, because the defense for the Patriots is not bad. They're not losing games because of their defense. And you got another three-headed dog over there too, with a mediocre offense. Like, dude, it's Sutton, and that's it. That's it.
So that being said, man, who you got in this game, if that's what we want to call it?
Your turn to go first.
I'm taking Denver to cover. I just don't think New England has even 2 touchdowns in them against another good defense.
Yeah. Let me get the Patriots to cover.
Yep.
Defense keeps them in it.
Field goal type of game.
Yeah, about. Maybe they'll backdoor the cover.
This is hilarious, man. After all of this time, which, by the way, that's kind of the theme of the week for me. After all this time with this much differentiation, my season-long lead on you in this can disappear just like that.
Can't wait.
Vegas at KC. They're giving KC 10 at home. 41.5 over under. Josh Jacobs maybe makes a comeback here. Again, we got to wait for practice reports.
Make sure you have Zamir White. If you have, well, I guess that might be out of the question for you if you didn't pick him up early. I did, because I'm really good at fantasy.
I did too.
And I had Josh Jacobs.
Actually won a matchup partially because of that.
Hell yeah.
You think Zamir stays hot if JJ's out?
Yeah. I mean, I think he can pretty much replicate what he did last week.
What about Jacoby Myers? Think he's worth another shot after that performance, or you're not chasing that?
I mean, they're not scoring 63 again. We know that. They're scoring 70. No. Yeah.
Can you imagine? The narratives would be incredible.
They would murder Taylor Swift in Kansas City. They would blame her.
What is? I blame her too, dude. Shit, but I think that Swiftie Nation, believe it or not, is actually larger than Chiefs Nation.
Chiefs Nation is used to fighting people in the stands. Taylor Swift groupies are not. That's not what they do.
But the sheer numbers.
What are they gonna do? Throw freaking Starbucks at them?
I think they would do whatever Taylor tells them to do. And if Taylor tells them to go into murder mode, I think they might.
They'll be biting ankles, man. Yeah, she's like the that king, that skeleton king from Lord of the Rings.
Oh my god, yes, bro. The freaking raising the zombies up, like Taylor Swift up in the like the Chiefs fans turn on her, keep trying to climb up the stands, and she just does this deal, and a bunch of Swifties just come crawling out of the ground. We should talk about football.
I guess if we still want to.
I don't know. Yeah, I guess it's just Devontae and whoever the running back is for me on LV.
Yeah. Myers has been too good over the course of the season, I think, to fade him too much. I would still be willing to put him in there.
He's had some lean weeks too, so just keep that in mind when we're looking at this.
He has.
Kansas City, Travis. It's just my message to you. You're not listening, but I'm going to put it out there in the universe anyway. She's not good for you, man. She's not good for us. I thought we had a beautiful thing going. You were scoring touchdowns. I was watching. It was a very one-sided relationship, granted, but I just, she's been toxic to my fantasy chances. So I think you should dump her.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. His love life is not as important as your fantasy team. That's for sure.
Obviously, certainly not to me. whatever, man. On Kansas City, we know the drill. But whoever the running back ends up being, I think you should
I
start.
think it's going to be Pacheco, and yeah, you play Pacheco, of course. So Travis not being as awesome as he was couldn't be the fact that he's like 34 years old on a struggling offense.
He was 34 years old on a struggling offense in the first half of the season. He was fine.
But he was dating Taylor Swift then too. So
yeah, but she wasn't at the stadiums bringing her like night witch like energy to nerf the score.
All right, so I want to talk about a different player on KC. Of course, my favorite player in the world, Kadarius Toney. Does he sniff the field after last game?
Bro, like, I mean, one side of me says, how could he? I mean, dude, like, you've been it's really hard as a single position player to like impact the game that much negatively. But dude, he has been the human op for
been
that.
A negative, man. He's been a huge negative.
It's crazy. Like even when like a simple screen pass or not screen pass, sorry.
Like a slant route.
Yeah, simple slant that you and like, dude, it's one thing to drop it. It's another thing to like pop it up perfectly in the air after like a multi-bobble.
The guy is just a freaking catastrophe waiting to happen.
Okay.
Does he get any snaps?
No, I don't think he should. And I'll give you a little bit of a different reason because I feel like everybody's dumping on him. The kid's got the yips, dude. Obviously, he's got the yips. Like,
yeah.
And maybe that never gets cured. Maybe he's not putting the work in. Maybe he's just not a good player. Like, there's so many maybes. But right now, like, you don't – if your starting pitcher is getting shelled, if a dude just hit a grand slam after another dude hit a grand slam after loading the bases prior to that, you don't just leave him out there to just keep getting 28 fucking runs put up on him. Like, sit him down, dude. Like, you're killing the kid. Like, to me, like I don't know, like, for your own team selfishly, you want to put your best players out there, but like if you're continuing to expose a player to just continue to get all this like attention and bad press, like that's not doing him any favors either.
I don't give a shit about Kadarius Toney and his feelings and whatnot. Dude sucks at football. Sky Moore is on IR, so that might force Kadarius to be playing more, or maybe
Justin Watson. Throw Justin Watson out there.
Exactly. Maybe Justin Watson gets elevated snaps. I think he should. He's more trustworthy than Toney. Blah, 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 blah. Not really starting options here. It's Rashee Rice. It's Pacheco. It's Kelsey, of course.
And Rashee's been awesome for fantasy.
Rashee's been great. Rashee rising.
So necessary.
The rice cooker. Yeah. That's it for KC.
How
McKinnon scary if Pacheco's there. I wouldn't really want to put McKinnon in. He's always a threat for some BS, but can't trust it. So
I don't understand how you're Kansas City and the only receiver you traded for was, why did his name escape me? It's not MVS. It's
yeah, you're talking about Mecole Hardman.
Mecole Hardman, bringing back Mecole Hardman, like who's he's a fringe NFL guy. Like, I just can't believe they let the trade deadline go by and didn't get anybody
who was really out there. I mean, were you going to trade for Jerry Jeudy in your own division that maybe the Broncos weren't going to do? I mean, I don't know who's really out there.
Maybe not Jerry. Like, I know that Jerry Jeudy and Devontae were like the big sexy names that were mostly out there. But dude, like, there had to be somebody. Go get Adam Thielen's old ass. Carolina's not going anywhere. Like, T. Higgins might walk. Like, there was. I just think that there were situations out there that, like, I mean, with this team and the margin of error in the NFL and the type of roster you have everywhere else, like to me, that's a red break glass panic button. You gotta go. You had to go get somebody. Had to find a way.
This is off season talk, man.
You're right, but it still upsets me because I mean, you had Patrick Mahomes like most of the season, right? Like,
Still have him.
probably could have helped. Probably could have helped.
Maybe. Hard to say.
Giants, your Giants.
You gonna pick the game?
Why do I keep forgetting to do that, man? I'm losing it.
'Cause you don't want to pick it.
KC.
Raiders covering. Fucking KC still getting way too much respect after they've been dog shit.
I actually like that pick. That pick isn't bad process.
Raiders have been competitive in a lot of games. Give me the Raiders to cover.
You knew I didn't want to pick it.
Yeah, Giants, Eagles. Saquon Barkley. Okay, done with the Giants. Got to start him. Nobody else.
Yeah, the Tommy train finally fell off the tracks.
Darren Waller is an option because he's a tight end.
Really the thing with this game is okay. Everybody was questioning Philly after the Dallas game. Okay, fine. You lost that game. I really wasn't. Now I'm questioning Philly. I was not questioning them before. I am now. Does Jalen Hurts look right to you? Like, I don't know.
He was sick in this last game. Yeah, listen.
Even like the last few games, I feel like maybe it's the knee, maybe it's whatever. Like, I'm just not seeing the explosion, the pop on some of those, some of those like runs where he would just take off and make something happen. Seems a little tentative.
It could be a lot of things. I think him being sick in that game slowed him down a bit. He played okay. He didn't play very good. He played okay. I can't. I think that Jalen Hurts has been overrated for a few years, but far, far from a bad. He's a good, very good quarterback. I just think that he gets a little too much credit, but whatever. I'm a Giants fan. Call me biased. But I don't want to pull this game against him in any way because he was sick. Okay. It's hard to play.
What about the defense? Because that defense
the defense is James Bradbury's a liability, and you saw that on that last play. He's been cooked. They don't have a better option. So
is he just old? Because I feel like he was good before.
Yeah, he's very old for a corner. He's like plus over 30. Like the Giants didn't re-sign him, and he was like, I think he was like 29 at the time.
Yeah.
Maybe he was 30 already. Whatever. He's an older corner. He gets cooked in man coverage. JSN ran by him, touchdown. That a lot of things like that have been happening all year to Bradbury. That being said, the Giants. Well, first of all, let's just say Philly side, you just start your studs, start them all, start Goddard. Even I think Goddard has a chance to have a good game. All of them. Giants won't be on the field enough. Giants are going to make a play or two here and there because Philly's secondary is suspect. It's not going to be enough. Mm-hmm. The Giants, with a third-string quarterback, as fun as he may be, if you want to call him the backup now, since he's starting over Tyrod, that's cool. So we'll call him the backup. An experienced guy going into the link, hostile environment. Dude, it's going to be rough. It's going to be rough.
I mean, like, and yes, we've had a lot of criticism for how the NFL evaluates quarterbacks, but to me, like a lot of people are like, I've seen people like online being, like all, dunking on Tommy or whatever. It's like, dude, we didn't have any expectations for Tommy coming in.
No,
there was no expectations. He's done way more than I thought he was ever going to do. And okay, he loses a game, fine, because I was actually expecting him to lose every fucking game.
Yeah, I think most people were.
So I think he's been fine. I think he's earned, at the very least, a few more reps here and there to see if he's got something. But yeah, I mean, I don't think the Giants were going to cover Philly with Daniel Jones. Like I just think it's a better roster.
The link is a terrible place for the Giants, and all the Tommy DeVito stuff, awesome, fun, love it. I'm Italian myself, awesome to see, super cool, fun. What ESPN fails to tell all of you people who don't know ball, Giants during that 3-game win streak, over those 3 games, 12 turnovers. 12 turnovers, guys.
Not sustainable.
They beat the Manders. Game was still in question down the stretch in the fourth quarter. 3-point win against the Patriots. Great couple throws to win the game against Green Bay. Awesome. Credit given there. Forced turnovers. The first game, the Giants don't get any turnovers. They get blown out.
And if Philly is ahead and they don't have to take big risks, they do a good job of taking care of the ball.
Absolutely. The Giants will be a get-right game for Philly. Hate to say it, but it's true.
Yeah, I got them covering, brother.
Yeah, me too.
11.5 is a lot, but I just...
They're going to roll us in the second half. I mean, they're going to run all over us.
It's too much to ask of the kid to go into the link and
it's too much, and it's going to end up. It's ultimately going to be too much to ask for the defense to be on the field for 40 minutes of the game.
Yeah.
So yeah, I hate fucking doing it. I got to take Philly over the Giants.
So, last game we're going to chat about in this crunchy Christmas episode.
Ooh.
My girlfriend is wondering if I'm ever coming to bed.
Why? What are you doing? Oh my god! You'd rather talk about football with your fucking friends?
Yeah. What's even worse is
Don't let her listen to that, please.
Huh?
Don't let her watch this, but.
Oh, dude, she's not watching. I promise you that. And furthermore, I promise you that her concern with whether I'm coming to bed or not actually has nothing to do with anything you dirty people are thinking about, and has everything to do with me taking care of the dog, locking all the doors of the house, getting her water next to her nightstand, and doing all those things, so she can stay snuggled up.
Make sure you do the dishes too.
That's right. Fucking hubby shit over here. Anyways, Baltimore going to San Fran. Game of the week. Everybody's pumped to see it. They're giving San Fran 5.5 at home. It's a 46 over under. I think that's a product of them thinking these defenses are going to hold back some of these great offenses. Rest in peace, Keaton. That shit was ugly. Unfortunately, I was forced to watch it, like the Bird Box thing. And he ain't coming back for a while. I don't know. I guess the Gus Bus to me is a great start because he's going to be Mr. Necessary in that offense. The pass catchers I'm a little leery of, but I think that Zay is going to be necessary in this game because I think with Baltimore it's like they only pass the ball when they have to, or that's what it feels like to me. I don't know if you've seen the numbers kind of back that up.
Well, yeah, the Ravens have been. Their preference is to run the ball if they can effectively do it. And it's just,
and they can usually.
Yeah, they're very successful at it. This is being touted as a Super Bowl rematch / preview for good reason. So it's kind of just been the same story for Baltimore pass catchers. Inconsistent. You get a guy here and there having a big game, and then you get kind of hyped for the Ravens passing game, and then it lets you down, and they don't really need to run to win the game. And, it's the same old story with Baltimore. And go ahead and toot my own horn here. Before the season started, I talked a lot about, I was kind of poo-pooing their passing game. Like, dude, Baltimore is going to play to the strengths of their players. Lamar Jackson, he's a good passer. He's not a great passer. His legs are ultimately a weapon you cannot just not use. You have to use that. That makes him a special player. And the run game works great because of the threat of his legs too, and just using, not just the threat, but him using his legs.
Yeah,
it nerfs the production of pass catchers.
100%. And I remember I was a little more bullish on just the offense overall getting better with having better weapons. Lamar getting better himself, which he's been a top 5 quarterback this year.
No,
so
he's been very good. The style they play is not the best environment for consistent pass catchers.
Right. It's not going to be consistent. Isaiah Likely was their top receiver last week.
And he might be again this week.
And he could.
Where's Zay Flowers? Where's Zay Flowers? God damn.
Dude, the crazy thing is that like he's had good games recently, so you feel like, okay, what are the 3 check boxes I always kind of think in my head? Okay. Talented player, opportunity, in what in theory
good environment
is a very dwindling number of good quarterbacks in the NFL, right? There's like every week there seems to be less and less good quarterbacks. So it's like when I'm thinking about starting somebody, like he usually checks those boxes, but it's like you said, dude, the pseudo goose is always in play.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
he did a fantastic job running across that formation all night. He looked great.
Yeah. I felt really cool watching him do that over and over and over again while it produced no points for my team.
Yep.
So, okay. But in the context of this game, understanding several things. San Fran, extremely stout against the run, right? But, like if there's any weakness in this juggernaut, the outside the numbers is kind of where you try to get them. And understanding that Baltimore is going to have to probably leave their comfort zone a bit if they want to compete in this game. Zay or Odell, gun to your head, do or die matchup. You have to put your thumb on one of those guys and say, this player will give me at least double-digit fantasy points.
I actually am thinking Odell is a good candidate to have a pretty solid game here. I like Odell this week. I do.
It bummed me out, but I agree with you. For whatever reason, when Odell's been healthy, it hasn't happened all the time. He's kind of been the guy coming back to the ball and being the possession outlet guy for Lamar.
Yeah. I think there's trust there, for sure. And I just think he's going to make a big play in this game.
All right. San Fran side, I mean, okay. Again, we've said the same thing with San Fran all the time.
Everybody.
It's buddy. It's buddy.
Yeah.
But okay. But again, like Super Bowl preview, you got to figure Baltimore is going to try to take something away. Do you have any concern about any of the fantasy options for San Francisco?
No. I mean, they're not all going to go off. And maybe instead of 3 of them going off, only 2 of them goes off, but they're too damn good. I mean, when they've had McCaffrey and Trent Williams, they scored their worst output on offense was 28 points. 28 points is a bad game for them. 4 touchdowns is a bad game for them. Baltimore's defense is good. I give you that. San Francisco's offense is better. They'll score.
Yeah, I think that this ends up being the one game where they get held like under 28, but regardless, 24 implied points is still plenty to start options. So, um, if this line was even one touchdown, I think I would take Baltimore. But the fact that it's on the road across country, I got I have San Fran winning outright, so I have to take this line basically, unless I think it's a field goal. So I'm gonna go with San Fran. I mean, I do think that the unique thing about Baltimore is I think Lamar can stretch that defense more than they've really dealt with any of the players they've had before. But I don't care. I got San Fran covering at home.
Give me Baltimore. Give me Baltimore covering in a classic Monday night battle where it comes down to the wire.
I was really tempted, dude. I was really tempted to take them. I like Baltimore. I like how they match up. It's just I can't bring myself to not at least give San Fran 6 at home. Like I don't know, but it's fucking it's doable, dude.
There's playmakers all over the field for both teams. Lamar is going to have to be very special in this game.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see it because, like, dude, that's a legacy game, right? Like, you go into Frisco and you shock those boys, and now you are the MVP.
Yeah.
That's it. I don't want to hear anything else because Patty hasn't been there. I know Josh has been great late in the season, but he hasn't put a whole season together. Dak showed fraud vibes again. Brock Purdy. You can't have two MVP candidates on the same team. If you have two MVP candidates on the same team, it's you don't have one. But if Lamar does it, I think he's got as much of a case or as good of a case as anybody, in my opinion.
That's all the games. Just because we'll close out with this, just because we're already talking about it. I'm gonna talk about my very well respected opinion in the NFL. I think that McCaffrey needs to be a legit consideration. He's got to mean so freaking much for the 49ers. I mean, the guy has been incredible, and it feels like he is just truly the motor of the offense. And to me, that is what an MVP really means. You are the best player that means the most to your particular team.
Oh yeah.
You know, I think sometimes MVP can be too stats based, and I think it's a little annoying. Like you take McCaffrey off that team and you just put in like, one of their backups and whatever, let their backups be their starter for a whole season. I don't think this team scores, averages 30 plus points or whatever it is a week. I think that he means that much. He's that dynamic and he can do it all. I think
McCaffrey, you're saying?
Yeah, McCaffrey. I think he's that important.
So, in my opinion, dude, McCaffrey is awesome, and he is. But like, I see him on San Fran as like he was the missing piece. Like they had this like Mechazord type of like big giant machine, and it was like missing the crown jewel to like, and then it all activated and became this crazy thing. Like I know that's why Shanahan went out and specifically aggressively traded a big package for a running back, right? Like that doesn't happen very often. Knowing that like this is the guy that unlocks everything for me. So that's huge. I think that if a position player is going to win the MVP, I still lean more towards Reek. Even though I get it,
That's
They
fair.
went to they went into Jersey. They put up 30 points without him. Like, I completely get that, but like, I just think that, you know, anybody that's sniffing 2K in receiving, I think has those kind of chops, and I think he's so critical to everything they do on that offense. But I just gushed about him. I'm gonna say it. The MVP is always a freaking quarterback, and it's stupid. OPOY just belongs to the other position players. It's
Yeah.
always going to be a quarterback. So for me, you just said it. What player can I pluck from a team, and that team just falls apart? Lamar right now, to me, is leading this very tight race that changes, and guys like go in and out all the time because nobody's really dominated season long. Okay. What if Josh Allen takes the division back with the crazy numbers he's been putting up? What if he takes them back up to 11 wins? They win the division. They lock it up. Does he get back in the conversation with his turnover struggles earlier? Like, I don't know, man. I still think it's wide open.
Yeah, there's still a lot of football to be played to determine that. And yeah, if you're just gonna make it a quarterback award, then change the fucking name of it.
I wish it wasn't, but effectively that's just what it has become. And I get it from the perspective of like we all agree that's the most important position. So, but I just don't like the automatic thing that it's like your team won the most games, you happen to be the quarterback, therefore you must win it. I think that there's room for more nuance because I think there's guys that do more for their team from that position.
Yeah, and you know what? Honestly, I guess it's an awesome award to win, but when it comes down to it, they'd trade that award for a Super Bowl win any
It's
time.
all about the soupy, baby. And speaking of, I know all of you out there that are still here. You must still be in the playoffs, and good on you, kid. Good luck. Try to win that fantasy Super Bowl. Unfortunately, in our main league, that is no longer in my hopes. But with everything else, you're either still in it, out of it, and thinking about next year, or you're trying to avoid a last place punishment.
Yep.
Either way, I wish you all luck.
If you're not first, you're last.